you and Foster in the 90s, there was a flyer up at like Vinyl Solution that said these guys are doing a band. We sound like No for an Answer. We sound like Unity. We like this is what we want to sound like. We're looking for a guitar player. And apparently you and Foster went to the practice. And
Yeah.
can you explain how that went and what the reaction was?
I totally forgot about that. So yeah, Foster found a flyer or something that said there's some kids wanted to start a straight edge band, and you know they cited some of our bands as influences, and so he's like, "Well, I thought I'd go try out for guitar. Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Sure." So you know we went over there, dueling Marshall half stacks, and these kids' garage somewhere in, I think it was like Westminster, practiced in some kid's garage. Guy had a little bass amp like this big, and a drummer who I don't really recall much of it. And Foster and I just basically worked on songs and had those guys help us. I mean, they seemed excited, but they also seemed kind of perplexed. I'm not 100% sure they knew that we were in those bands. It's hard to tell before the internet. Now you kind of can assume that anybody that's interested in anybody else can get some information on them. But then, you know, it could be, you might not know what somebody looks like in your favorite band or
right.
It was a lot more isolated. So yeah, we basically went there and wrote a song. I thought it was a pretty good song. I know part of it ended up on the Past Our Means Ignite record, which always kind of cracked me up that, oh, I remember writing that song. You know, we're some kid's garage we never saw again.
Well, what I love is you guys didn't show up and were like, hey, we're here, and then just jam through, you know, a Thought Crusade, or maybe do some Carry Nation, or maybe do some Unity. You guys went and actually worked on a song.
Well, the thing is when you have such a, we'll say, modest amount of fame or celebrity, like barely registerable, other than a very small group. And this is probably, I think this is around the time I was either in Ignite or just out of Ignite.
Yeah, this was like 94, 95-ish, because when I heard the story, Nelson told me the story, and when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's the best.
Well, I like the idea that, you know, in my mind, if the guy was anything like me, he knew exactly who I was. It'd be like if I put out the flyer, and it sounds really grandiose. I don't mean it that way. But if Brian Baker showed up,
right,
he'd just be like, what do I do here? Like this is so cool. I want this to continue, but you know, I can't keep up with this stuff. Early Carry Nation, one of the first practices we did with Frank, Dave Mello played guitar also, from Uniform Choice. And even though he's a bass player in Uniform Choice, he shows up with a Les Paul and a Marshall half stack, and sounded amazing. And I'm just kind of like, wow, I really want to keep this going, but you know, he's Dave Mello. I can't keep this going. So I like the idea that it might be exciting for this. I hate the way that sounds.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
It was just one of those things where I don't get a lot of opportunities to feel like I'm a celebrity. That was a very small thing, and it was for two people, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was like, I just loved the idea that, you know, these guys had this story that, you know, assuming these little hardcore dorks like we were, they would tell their friends, and their friends would be like, yeah, sure.